Okay, so a lot of people ask me this question. They say, but David, if I pay that tax, that's money leaving my account. Won't I have less growing for me? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Of all the objections to a Roth conversion, this is the one that sounds the most reasonable. It feels like simple arithmetic. Smaller pile, less growth. How could that possibly be wrong? So let me show you. Let me put two accounts in front of you. The first one has $1 million in it. The second has 700,000. Which one do you want? Now be honest. You most likely picked the $1 million one, didn't you? Everybody does. Every single time. And that reflex, that instinct, is exactly what keeps people trapped in the wrong account for the rest of their lives. Because I didn't tell you the most important thing about those two accounts. One of them has a partner attached to it, a silent partner who's taking a cut of everything that that account earns and whose share gets bigger every single year that account grows. So let me ask you again, which one do you actually want? Now, by the end of this, I think you're going to change your answer from the original one. Here's a question almost nobody stops to ask. When your traditional retirement account grows, whose money is actually growing? You think it's yours, all of it. That's what the statement says, right? But we've established something in this series that changes everything. A piece of that account was never yours. It's the government's future tax sitting right inside your balance. So follow that through. If the IRS owns a percentage of that account and the account grows, what happens to their share? Well, it grows too, right alongside yours every single year. You didn't shrink their piece by growing the account. You grew it. You worked, you saved, you invested, you took the market risk, and you made their share bigger right along with your own. That's the part that stops people cold. Growing a traditional retirement account doesn't just grow your money, it grows the tax bill that's attached to it. So now let's go back to those two accounts because once you see them clearly, really clearly, the choice looks completely different than it did 60 seconds ago. That $1 million account, a meaningful piece of it isn't yours. Depending on the situation, a sizable share belongs to the IRS. You just haven't paid it yet. And every year it grows, their share grows. And on top of that, you're paying fees on the whole balance, including their part. And when you need income, every dollar you pull gets taxed, which can trigger taxes on your Social Security and push your Medicare premiums up higher as well. Now, the 700,000, the tax is done. It's settled. The partner is gone. Every dollar of that account is yours, and every dollar of growth from this day forward is yours, tax-free, permanently. No forced withdrawals, no tax on the income, nothing triggering your Social Security taxation, nothing pushing your Medicare premiums up, and it passes to your family clean. So which pile is actually bigger? One of them is a larger number with a partner, a tax bill, an ongoing drag attached. The other is a smaller number that is entirely, permanently, 100% your money. You were never choosing between more money and less money. You were choosing between a bigger pile that's partly theirs and taxed forever and a smaller pile that's truly yours. And here's what makes it compound over time. In that traditional account, every dollar of growth arrives with a tax attached to it. Growth creates more tax. More tax creates more of a bill later. You're growing the problem right alongside with the money. In the tax-free account, growth is just growth. It arrives clean. Nothing is owed on it. Not this year, not in 20 years, not ever. What you see is generally what you have. So over a long retirement, you're not comparing a big pile to a small pile. You're comparing a pile that keeps growing, a liability alongside it, to a pile where every dollar earned is yours to keep. Now, I want you to be straight with you about something because it generally matters and most videos will gloss over it. How you pay that conversion tax changes the math entirely. If you can pay it from money outside the retirement account savings, other assets, you keep the entire converted balance working for you in the tax-free world. That's typically the strongest version of this. If you have to pay the tax out of the converted money itself, the math does change. It can still make sense, and for many people, it absolutely does. But it is a different calculation that we need to take into consideration. And that's exactly the kind of variable a free online calculator just can't know about. It doesn't know what you have outside the account. It doesn't know your income, your bracket, your timeline, or what you're trying to leave behind to your loved ones. So let me be clear about where I stand. I'm not telling you a conversion is right for everyone. It absolutely isn't. There are absolutely situations where the answer is absolutely no. But if the reason you've been saying no is I'd have less money growing, I want you to look again, because that objection assumes the bigger pile is all yours, and a big piece of it never was. The only way to know what's true for you is to run your actual numbers, your account, your bracket, what you have outside of it, and what you want to leave behind for your loved ones. That's what I do with people. If it makes sense for your situation, we run a full Roth Conversion Investment Analysis. The real math, your whole picture, everything a calculator can't see. And you walk away either knowing this is one of the best moves you can make, or knowing it isn't right for you and you've avoided a costly mistake. Either way, you win, because either way, you just stop guessing. If you want to find out your number, there's a link below to sit down with me. Now, there's one more version of this objection, and it's the one people cling to the hardest. It sounds even smarter than the one we just discussed. It goes like this. But think about the lost opportunity cost. All that tax money I'd pay. Think of everything it could have earned me over the next 20 years. It sounds like sharp financial thinking, and it's the biggest blind spot of them all, because people apply it to one thing and completely ignore it everywhere else. That's the next video. Subscribe so it finds you, and I'll see you there.